All right, guys. First lesson we're going to talk about is on page 94. On page 94, we have the vocabulary. On the vocabulary, let's first go through the nouns. Anglos. These are basically European white people, such as Germans and English. Usually English. The word Anglo, English, they come from the same word. Career. This is a job you have for a long time. Castle. Over here we have a picture of a castle, an old style building from Europe. Cooking. Cooking is the food that you eat after it has been cooked. You've eaten the cooking. Cottage. Here we have an example of a cottage. You have brick or rock house walls, and on the top is usually made out of straw. Down here, if you look a little bit ahead, you have a thing called a straw mat. The straw mat is a kind of same substance you make it for going to sleep in at night. Farm, you can see the rest of the farm here. Pigs, cows, horses, maybe in the back you have some goats, which is another word, goats, slightly different animals from sheep. Females, male goats, female goats. Generations, this is the older generation, mom and dad, younger generation, children. Housework, usually the work that must be done inside the home, including washing dishes or cleaning the floor, keeping your clothes clean. Independence, many women want their independence, meaning that they want to be free from their husband, or at least they want to be their own person. Independence from a country, when the United States got independence from Britain. A master is a person who is in charge of either another person. It could also be a person in charge of animals. So the master is someone in charge of something. Meals are the food that you eat. Motherhood, when a woman becomes a mom, motherhood refers to time, so the time that she is a mother. Protection, people used to live in castles for protection because the enemies would come with their swords and try to steal people or to try to take them over. If you live in a strong castle, then you have protection from people. Servants, similar to the master, here you have the servant, she works for him. Slaves, servants usually get paid for what they do. Slaves do not get paid. A straw mat, we talked about. Taxes, sometimes a master who lives in the castle will work over the peasants or the servants who work in the field. They will have to pay taxes to the master. Values is the amount of money that something is. Waiter is the person who brings you food. Years, everyone knows what years are. Date, the date today is April 10th. Verbs, to date. Date means to go on a date with. Different than the noun date, which is a day. A date means to go on a special trip or a special meal with a boyfriend or girlfriend. Fall in love. Two, boy and girl, they fall in love. It's the idea of falling, and then they land in love. They get married. They get up, like in the morning. Have custody of, the master has custody of the servant, or a parent has custody over the children. So I have custody of my children. Improve, to make better. Pushed aside means in the story it talks about the woman pushed aside the animals. She pushed aside the goats because she wanted to go through. Separated is, they're not divorced, but they are separated. Value means to value something, means to put a lot of hope in something. Values is the result of, that's the noun, value, the verb. Anglicized means to take people from other cultures and want them to become more English. Arranged marriage is the idea that the mother and the father decide who the child marries. Asleep, the idea that when someone is not awake, they are asleep. Crowded, there's an old story of a man who brings in too many animals into the house and thus makes the house crowded. Once they take the animals out of the house, the people feel happy because it is not crowded. Expected, something that you want, something that you expect is something that you know is going to happen. Adverbs. Financially is something good or bad. It's the property of relating to finances. Modestly is the property of being modest, meaning not wearing clothes that are too fancy or too rich or that cover all your skin. And finally, the preposition during. During this lesson, you are learning many words. During.